All right, so this is factoring, if you want to call it day 3. Split the middle when A is not 1. So there is no shortcut for this method. So it is a little bit longer, but this one you can always rely on pretty much for any type that you're doing. So again, first step is always GCF. That's going to help us break down our numbers. So don't forget, GCF first, always check. So splitting the middle with no shortcut. It's called splitting the middle because we're going to split that middle factor. And we kind of have already seen this in the last lesson, just real briefly. But you will apply the GCF and grouping in order to factor using split the middle. So if we have 3 terms where A is not 1, but some other number, then you cannot use that shortcut. So what we've got to do is this long method. So what we do is we take the first term times the last term, first times last, and then we come up with the factors that are going to add to get the middle. So this is very similar to kind of our shortcut, but we can't just put these factors as our answer because this is not 1. So what we do is we split up the middle like we did kind of before, and then we have 4 terms now, and we can use our grouping to get our final answer. So it's not too bad. It's kind of applying those rules that we've already learned, but again, putting them all together makes it a little bit longer. So let's take a look at this example here. There's also where you can use this box method, and many of you may like it because it kind of helps keep things organized in a box grid and help you visualize it better. So it really just kind of helps you with that grouping. So what we do is the same method, first times last, come up with the factors of -60 that add to get -11. So that'd be -15 and 4. And the first box holds the a to the x squared term. So in this case, it would be our 10x squared would go in this first box. And then our bottom right box is going to hold that last term, -6. So that goes down there. And then our 2 terms are going to go in here. Well, it's -15 and 4. But again, we're splitting this middle, so we need to have an x that goes with them both. So -15x and +4x. And it doesn't matter which one you put where, which is nice. You can just kind of fill them in. So here it is all filled in. And then what you're going to do is look vertically and find a common factor of 10 and 4. And x squared and x. So it's almost like GCF, but just vertically. What can you take out of both of those? A 2x. So then you look at this column. What can you take out of both of these? The GCF would be -3. And then you look horizontally. What can you take out of those? Pull it out. What's the GCF of this bottom vertical? And there it is. There's your answer. 5x plus 2. And up at the top, 2x minus 3. And you put them together. So you can use splitting the middle or the box method, whichever one you choose. I'm going to show you first just splitting the middle with our grouping, and then I'll do a couple of box examples in case you like that better. So here we go. First times last is always our first step, after, of course, GCF, but I look and see no GCF. So -21, what are those factors that are going to add to get 20? Well, 21 and 1, and if I make this one negative and this one positive, then together that would add to get -20. So I'm going to use these 2 as my splitting the middle factors. So I'm going to go ahead and write that out with my first and my last. And then again, I'm splitting the middle. So the middle is going to get replaced with these 2 factors, -21x and +1x. So now that I have 4 terms, I can go ahead and do my grouping method. And I take out, for the first group, I can take out a 7x. For the second group, I can just take out a 1. So there's nothing else that I can pull out of there. So now I have an x minus 3 and x minus 3, and yep, they match. So x minus 3 is one part of my answer, and 7x plus 1 is the other part. So it's really just first times last and splitting that middle, and then you're just grouping from there. Let's try it with the box method. So first times last, again, no GCF on this one. So we do first times last, 168. Ooh, that's a big one. And what are the factors that are going to add to get 46? So in my calculator, I just try and I divide by 2. I divide by, and I know it's even, so I just try all my even numbers, 2, and then 4. Ooh, 4. 4 and 42 together, those add to get 46. So see, I only had to do it twice, and I found my numbers that I'm going to split that middle with. So let's go ahead and try our box method. So what you do is you draw a box, a 2 by 2, so it's got 4 spots in it. And in the top left, we're going to put our first term, 7x squared. In our bottom right, we're going to put our last term, 24. Now remember, our middle term is the one that's getting split up, so that's what we're going to put in these other 2 boxes, is the numbers we came up with here. And make sure that they have an x with them, because we're splitting the 26x into 42x and 4x. So now, let's go ahead and look vertically. So 7x and 42x, those both have a common factor of 7 and x. 4x and 24, those both have a common factor or GCF of 4. So I pull that out. Now we're going to look horizontally. What could I take out going horizontally in this top row? Just an x. And then, what can I take out of 42 and 24? A 6. Now, if you ever struggle or want to check and see if you did it correctly, you can always remultiply. So 7x, and then multiply it by this number out here and see if you get what's in the box. It should multiply to get that. So over here on the top, 4 times x should give you 4x. 4 down here times 6 should give you the bottom 24. So you can always kind of check that way. And here's our answer, 4x plus, or 7x plus 4. And then what's going down the side there? Yep, x plus 6. All right, you're going to go ahead and try number 3 on your own. So any method that you want, and then check when you're ready. All right, so I've got the box method here, but if you use grouping, you would still get the exact same answer, 5x minus 3 and x minus 3. So double check your answer with mine. If you got it wrong, it's all right. We're just going to check and see where you made your mistake, and then it just means you need a little bit more practice. So let's go ahead and flip to the next page. All right, so there's plenty of practice on this page. I'm going to go ahead and do just 2 more examples, actually 1 more up here and then 1 more down here that will leave you with some for you to practice with. So here we go. First times last, that's 42. We need 2 factors of 42 that add to get negative 13. So in your calculator, you can start dividing or think about the fact that 6 and 7 both multiply to get 42. And if we make them both negative, that would multiply to get positive, but add to get negative 13. So I'm going to go ahead and do my grouping since I just did a box one. So 6x squared, and I like to put my 7 at the back and then fill in my 2 middle terms to replace or split the middle. And it doesn't matter which order. Again, you can start with the negative 7x. Just make sure they both have an x. All right, so group first 2, last 2, and I can take out a 6x here and a negative 7. Remember, leading man negative, pull that negative out. So now we have x minus 1, and here we have x minus 1. So x minus 1 is the first part of our answer, or one part of our answer, and the other part is going to be a 6x minus 7. So this last one we're going to look at uses GCF first. So again, we've also been kind of trying to check and make sure that we pull that GCF out if there is one, and there is going to be one here. So pulling out a 2, looks like 7x squared plus 9x plus 2. Now we still have e has a number, so we can't use that shortcut. We have to use either, again, our long method with the box or long method with grouping. So first times last, 14. What are our factors of 14 that add to get 9? Well, 7 and 2. So let's split that middle term. I'm going to use the box for this one. So the first box is our first term, 7x squared. The bottom right is 2, and we're going to fill in our factors 7x and 2x in the other spots. Pulling out our GCFs going vertically, I like to start that way. There's an x. Nothing, that means we hold it with a 1. Going horizontally, 7x. Going horizontally down here, 2. And again, double check, multiply. 2 times 1, does that give you 2? 2 times x, does that give you 2x? 7x times x give you 7x squared. Yes, so you can kind of check and make sure that the top and the side multiply to get what's in the box. So our final answer, if we put these together, x plus 1 and 7x plus 2, which is along this side there. All right, so try some more of these as practice, and then make sure that you are practicing this method because, again, you will see this. You can always fall back on this method and choose whichever method you like, whether it be the grouping or the box, and make sure you've got that mastered.